Packers are back on the field on Monday to start week 2 of training camp. And today, they were in partial pads. So they brought shoulder pads on and got a little bit more live action, got a little bit of a look at some of the one-on-one drills between, receivers and DBs, linemen, things of that nature. And we'll see more of that coming on Tuesday's practice when they're in full pads. But a step closer to real football. In a bit of a surprise turn, Peyton Manning was at Packers training camp. Apparently he was in town to discuss a potential project for his production company, Omaha Productions. He was looking to talk to Jordan Love, who ended up going out and had a pretty good day of practice, but we'll get into that shortly. Looking at who was inactive today, we still had Gary and Stokes out naturally, Grant Dubose was still out with that back, and Dontavian Wicks still out with a concussion. David Bakhtiari had a rest day as well. For the starters and team, based on Bach being out, it was Josh, Jenkins, Myers, Runyon, and Tom from left to right. It's worth noting that at one point, Royce Newman took reps at both right guard and left guard with the ones, possibly just to keep guys fresh and get some rotation in the line. On the special teams side of things, Anders Carlson didn't kick today. Matt LaFleur said they're kind of backwards planning from family night so that he has the opportunity to kick there on Friday. And punter Daniel Whalen was the one who punted today. He performed well again and is really pushing for that job against Pat O'Donnell. At punt returner, we saw Reed, Nixon, and Toure taking reps. And I believe Dobbs and Watson took a few as well. As I mentioned earlier, Jordan Love had a pretty good day as well. Here you see him working a drill, rolling out wide, and sinking this ball deep in the net. And Alex Magoo liked it, doing a signature air guitar move here. In a similar drill, Jordan Love breaks the opposite way, running to his left, and then has to throw back against his body, and he hits the net, but doesn't sink it inside of the opening. Throwing against one's body is such a difficult thing to do, and here, as you see it again, you see he misses just to the left of the opening. We also got some footage of Magoo doing the same drills, rolling to his right here, doing his same air guitar motion, assuming that was a good throw there. And then on this one, we see him actually getting it deep into that net. I mean, it's hard not to root for this guy. He's having a lot of fun out there, and I look forward to seeing him in the preseason. And here we're back to Love again, going deep to Christian Watson, which we'll see a little bit more in some of the live session later. But he was throwing the ball extremely well today, especially on deep routes. He had a number of passes that were just right in the breadbasket from deep. Sticking with Christian Watson, here we see him on a bit of a zig route, running in, breaking back out, catching the ball decisively with his hands. No worries there on that one. And Matt LaFleur spoke out on Christian Watson earlier, saying that he's one of the most intelligent football players that he knows, which is pretty high praise from the head man. Watson and Dobbs were also working a bit of a toe drag swag here, really working on knowing where that sideline is and getting both feet down. Moving on to the tight ends, we see Tucker Kraft, who got his chance to roll with the ones a little bit in Saturday's practice, and really makes a great catch here. We'll go back and look at that one more time. The ball's, nice back shoulder throw from Jordan Love, but beautiful catch. And we see Luke Musgrave on the same concept here. Not quite as nice a ball, but, still a good catch there. We'll see a bit more of Musgrave in the team drills as well. Specifically paying attention to where he was lined up, some of the stuff they were asking him to do, and, how he overall performed. We saw only a little bit of actual clips with the running backs today, but here you see A.J. Dillon working on a ball control drill where they're trying to pull that ball out of his hand as he's going down to the ground. Unfortunately for Dillon, his first carry in the team drills, he ended up putting the ball on the ground. So this drill in particular is of importance to him. One of the young backs we heard a little bit about was Lou Nichols. Unfortunately, it was mostly that he was having a little bit of trouble catching the ball. Now, let's transition over to the defense a little bit. In this drill, we see Kingsley Enagbare hitting the pad, followed by Lukas Van Ness getting his chance to hit this pad. Watch the difference as you see these two again. Van Ness just slams that thing way up in the air. And naturally, Enagbare is a smaller edge than Van Ness. But just look at the sheer power of Van Ness as he drives this pad up into the air. With the pads on today, he even made a few more plays in team as well. On the other hand, here we see Preston Smith working a little bit more of the finesse hand movement kind of stuff that the edges need to be well versed in as well. We even saw a little bit of the safeties working off the edge on a strip drill. Compared to Johnson, who we just saw, this rep by Gaines was much more violent, which is what we'd like to see in that kind of drill. In his post-game presser, Jair talked a little bit about how pass game coordinator Greg Williams wants to, and is really advocating for Jair to play more up at the line of scrimmage, or at least closer to the line of scrimmage, which I think would be a relief to all of us. But getting into the team period, here we see a walkthrough rep where Love goes deep to Luke Musgrave. As we get ready to take another look at this, I want to look at the formation. We've got 3 wide left and Luke Musgrave split out wide to the right. We're starting to see a lot more of this kind of usage right now. And another one coming up here, you see him split out wide to the right, and then he takes in motion and comes across the middle, being matched up against the cornerback Jair Alexander. These are the kind of mismatches that they're looking to create by having a smaller defender in coverage, especially since he's such a fluid runner for a tight end. Love also made an outstanding call on this play, which was a called run, that he ended up seeing that there was an option open, and he took the RPO on a slant route. Take a look at how he flicks his wrist and releases this ball quickly. Looks awfully familiar to somebody we recently had. These next 2 plays, though, are the ones that really had everybody talking today. This one we've got a couple different angles of, but Love hits Watson deep as he beat Ennis Gaines in coverage. In this angle, you can kind of see the pressure that was coming down on Jordan Love as he stuck in there and threw this ball deep. He hit Watson perfectly in stride and let him keep running after the catch. And on this play, he'll end up targeting Jayden Reed on the right side here. As he's flushed from the pocket from pressure again, he drops this ball perfectly over Reed's shoulder, but unfortunately Reed isn't able to make the tough catch. As you see again, the pocket starts to break down. He flushes to the right and throws this ball on the move, kind of really in midair. For the second team unit, here we see Danny Etling throwing a pick 6. Carrington Valentine ends up breaking on that ball beautifully. The ball was a little inside, which is exactly where Carrington was reading this, but he just takes it to the house. One of my favorite things, though, is how Jordan Love comes off the sideline and really tries to make the stop as well. Etling ended up bouncing back from that pick 6 on the next play with a beautiful ball downfield to Reed. Tyler Davis was in blocking on that one, and he was struggling, doing his damnedest to keep LVN from getting pressure, and he generally succeeded. But the defense still ended up winning the day, and that meant push-ups for the offense. Well, that wraps up day 5. I'll see you in the next video with highlights from the next practice.